Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Breakthrough Blueprint, where we talk to entrepreneurs about how they became successful today. And I have with me my amazing friend Eric, and I'll hand it over to him to introduce himself.
Well, thank you for having me, Mel. My name is Eric van Beek. I'm originally from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, but now residing in Mexico City for the last 6 years now. I'm the co-owner of Handshake Speakeasy, Aurita Cantina, and the recently opened Shake Carato in Amsterdam. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you joining me here today. You're my first bartender, bar owner. So I'm just curious, how did you even get started in this industry?
In hospitality industry, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually lived in the States up until 2015. I was there for studies and sports, and I had to leave the States because of visa issues. And my college credits didn't really transfer because I went to a private institution in Atlanta. So my the school was in Amsterdam because I didn't finish my degree. It didn't accept credits, so I had to redo it. Yeah, we have another friend here. So once I went back to Amsterdam, I wasn't planning on doing a whole new 4 years of college.
Mm-hmm.
So I started as a host in a hotel in the morning, and that's kind of how the ball started to roll.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what really hospitality meant. I had no
Mm-hmm.
experience. And the reason I got hired there is because I speak several languages. So it was easy to connect with guests. And a friend of mine was the hotel manager or the F&B restaurant manager. So through her, I got that job.
Amazing. What sports did you play?
Basketball.
Wow. So you got
Yeah, I
recruited to
don't know.
play basketball or a scholarship?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Amazing.
play high school, prep school, JUCO, and
Amazing. What college was it at?
so I was the first at Enterprise State, which is in Alabama, and
Mhm.
then I transferred over to Morehouse College, which is a HBCU in Atlanta.
Yes. Wow, that is so interesting.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't even believe it. So,
Good for you. Hey, it says a lot about your skills playing basketball, and I'm sure a lot of that, athleticism and competitiveness probably translated to why you're so successful today. Can you talk more about, I guess, how you moved through the ranks of the industry and opened all these different bars?
well, I can't really credit that only to myself.
Hmm.
So I've always been, and I think this is because of basketball, I've always been like a dreamer and I've always, you're very competitive, like
Hmm.
in sports, you look at like the things that they say, athletes need to be very, very confident to make it anywhere because, everybody's trying to get that spot you're playing. And then when you look at like Tom Brady or Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Lisa Leslie, people like
Hmm.
that, they kind of have a chip on their shoulder and they say kind of outlandish stuff every once in a while. It's like, oof, that's borderline arrogant. I'm the best. I'm gonna, destroy
Hmm.
you and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Well, I don't think any is any different than that. Like, it's just the way I feel like hospitality is perceived. It's like, because it's such a social and such a human interactive based profession, the moment you bring in awards and I want to be the best kind of attitude, it's almost seen as a negative thing. I think about that a little bit differently because saying you're the best is one thing. You don't have to say that, but you're not going to help anybody with that. But believing in yourself or wanting to win certain things, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if that's the only reason you're doing this job, then I think you're in the wrong business.
Hmm.
But if you want to be praised or you want to receive accolades for all the hard work you've put in throughout the years, also because it helps you out your business, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Hmm.
Going back to your question, I digress, is that 19, I was still living in Amsterdam and I wanted to do a gap year somewhere. And I had a couple of options. And I chose Mexico City because I had prior experience on visiting. And I really liked it. I really had a good experience and I had a job opportunity there. So I was like, let's do a year and then I'll go back and then we'll open maybe something in Amsterdam. Well, I started at a bar called Brujas in Mexico
Well,
City.
I went there for the first time on Friday.
Oh, okay. Good bar, no? Yeah. So I started there as the first head bartender. And COVID came, but throughout the time that we were open, 3 weeks, my now business partner visited. And yeah, he loved it. And when he heard that I was leaving, he was like, "Well, I have an idea. Would you like to be part of Handshake?" In the beginning, I wasn't really interested, but through a lot of convincing, he convinced me. He introduced me to my other business partner, Marcos, and I came back October 7th, 2020, and we opened Handshake March 2021.
Wow. So why weren't you convinced at first, and what did they say to bring you on board?
Because I had a bad experience at Brujas, and
Mm,
I was in a financial hole, and I was like, when you have a professional mishap happen, and that's your only introduction to a country's professional world, and now somebody else is offering you something, and you don't know them really. Yeah. I was a bit on edge. Am I gonna go through the same thing? But no, like it's been really a wonderful experience.
mhm.
The Rodrigo, the initial person that reached out to me, he's been amazing. Through him, I have now gotten to know Marcos and my other business partners. And of course, through that initial conversation, we grew the business to what it is today. So
Wow.
actually,
That's
yeah, a little bit of luck, but also, yeah, hard work. But Rodrigo is the culprit here. Like he set everything in motion.
wow, that's amazing. What was your role like in terms of the concept of the bar, the menu? What was your role from the beginning?
So Rodrigo is not really a bar guy. He's more bar visitor, and he was a brand ambassador. So he was very much in the liquor industry, but not as an operator. Marcos had bartending experience prior, but was now a restaurant operator. So as far as menu design, drinks, they first of all didn't have the time to do it because they had other jobs, and they didn't really have the experience.
Hmm.
So it's kind of crazy because they gave me carte blanche. They had a design of Handshake already, but he said, okay, we need lights, we need this, we need menu, we need training, we need glassware, we need ice. Can you do that? And I was like, I sure can. And I kind of got like the green light. And of course, every time we made a decision on something that was kind of big or like if we had to buy stuff, then we would discuss it and get opinions and go back and forth. But yeah, like I had free range pretty much.
That's
So I
amazing.
could so I could leave my creative juices on the table,
Hmm.
which I've had before in Amsterdam, but not to this extent.
Hmm.
So they were like, "Yo, this needs to work," because yeah, this is your bar too. And it started working, and yeah, we took off.
That's amazing. So I'm not super familiar with the industry, but I do know that like speakeasies have become really popular in the last like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. How do you distinguish yours from every other speakeasy?
I hate speakeasies. I hate speakeasies. They're lame. It's so lame because I told him this as well. I don't like a speakeasy. He's like, well, because the classic speakeasy is like it's gotta be, hidden. It's never
Hmm.
really a speakeasy because first of all, you have an Instagram, a phone number. It's like it's not hidden. Maybe you have like a hidden room, sure, but then people wear bow ties, like jazz music,
Hmm.
stuff like this. But yeah, I was like, this is not for me, guys. This is not for me. Okay, you can make it into what you want.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't do arm garters and like fancy shirt. It was more like kind of like not a chef's jacket, but like a button down shirt and then an apron over it, but like a chef's apron.
Hmm.
Because I don't like the closing chef's jacket neither. It's nothing. It's not my style. I have a hotel background, so I wanted something that looks clean, but that was very comfortable. Then music, yeah, I like jazz every once in a while. I don't want to listen to it every day. You know what I mean? So then I start playing 80s music, Freddie Mercury, Queen, Four Seasons, Yankee Valley, stuff upbeat, fun, little house through it, just stuff that I was enjoyable. And then the service would be a mix between hotel style service and a neighborhood bar style service.
Hmm.
So you would walk in. I don't know, have you been to Handshake?
Not yet. Now I have
Oh,
to.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. So because of I traveled a lot, I take a lot of inspiration from other countries. So in Japan, which is a very introverted, reserved culture, it's all very poised, which I'm not, but I like experience. I like to experience it. So when you go up to a izakaya, they scream at you like "Irashaimase," they're like welcome in Japanese, and then they serve you very quietly and very peacefully. And I was like, wow, what a contrast! Your eyes go up, like, okay, whoa, this is for me. So we do that too at Headcheck. We scream at you when you walk into the place, but in Spanish.
Hmm.
And then when you sit down, we give you an ushiburi, which is a towel, a warm towel. And then after that, it's regular neighborhood store. And so it's screaming, which is, oh, what the hell is this? And then something super fancy as a
Hmm.
ushiburi in a bar. So there's a contrast. So there's an icebreaker,
Hmm.
there's a tension. So everybody feels recognized when they walk in. They're like, whoa, oh, okay, this is for me. Because a lot of times you walk into a venue, not just a bar, not just an office, and nobody helps you. Nobody sees you, and I feel like a lot of people just want to be seen nowadays. And if you could give them that kind of just that touch of humanity, they're like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm here. Like this is nice. So yeah,
Love that. Wow. So that was the concept from the very beginning, from day one.
I wanted to do everything backwards. When you walk in, usually when you walk into a bar, you have a host and they walk you to your seat, and that's it. And the bartender greets you. No, no, no. We're gonna fucking scream at you. Okay, great. Usually get a menu, and then that's it. No, we're gonna give you a warm or a cold shiburi to break the ice. Then we're gonna give you a water and nuts like in a hotel. Then we're gonna give you the menu and we explain it. The
Hmm.
menu needs to be explained rapidly, not geekily. If you want to know more about it, we'll explain more. 90-minute seatings, which was unheard of in Mexico City. Making reservations was not really a thing. So we did everything backwards. Why? Because to have a certain standard of service, there needs to be a controlled environment.
Hmm.
And if you don't have that control, you can peak in certain things in service, but not everybody's going to have the same experience. And it's already very hard to give everybody the same experience. So we focused on really trying to control the things that we could control, and we went from there.
And in terms of the drinks, like how do your drinks stand apart?
Well, I always like tasty drinks, and I've been to a lot of bars that the presentations look amazing. Like, whoa, this is, and then you taste the liquid, and you're like, is that nice? And it could be a variety of reasons. That could be maybe it's just not for me. Like that's fine.
Hmm.
Like not everybody's gonna like everything. But it happened to me so much that I was like, okay, this is there is an area there's a gray area where we can really gain popularity.
Hmm.
So what I wanted to create something very simple, like that looks simple, but when you taste it, you're like, whoa, like for example, a lot of Michelin star restaurants have like very clean plating, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I think the person that started minimalistic bartending in our day and age is probably mostly Remy Sauvage. I don't know if you know him, the French bartender, and a lot of people took after him. Also, Shingo Gokan from Japan and Luke Worthy from Australia. Those are three names that I took a lot of inspiration from.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, I want to serve something to a guest, and they think that's not that this is not their drink. And then when they drink it, their eyes go, whoa. And kind of that was always the way of creating drinks. How can we create something but present it in a way that people don't expect and then taste great? Of course, to be able to present something to make people go like this, yeah, you could put ornaments and all that stuff, and that's cool. But that's the easy way. But what about the most clean looking thing, the most boring looking thing? How can you achieve that same effect? How can you make that person go, whoa, what is this? So that was always the mindset behind it. Yeah.
Interesting. So I know that you won a bunch of awards and you guys are ranked number one in the world. Like, how did you get to that point? Like, what is required to win those awards in this industry?
I mean, you gotta be loved by the industry, by your peers. I think they at the end of the day, that those are the people that vote for you. That's how it works. I think we in the time and day, like the age that we opened up in Latin America, our style of drinks and our style of hospitality didn't exist. So Latin America always had wonderful vibe, care, energy. That's something that Europe was quite lacking. Some hotels had like very fancy service, and that was great, but like the warmness of like, when you run into a Mexican bar, that's just magic. But the level of drink, glassware, and technique was higher in Europe and in Asia than it was in Latin America. So we brought that, I think, to Latin America, and we started that. So at the
Mhm.
beginning, people were like clear drinks and fancy ice, and it wasn't really popular. And then you know it just caught on and it caught fire, and that's how it became popular. And I don't think we reinvented the wheel. We put some pieces together and opened in a place where this was so unfamiliar that it became a highlight for people. We were very lucky that in COVID that Mexico was one of the first countries to open back up, so we had a lot of flow. So once we get like a little award, okay, what's going on in Mexico City? So people come, and then kind of the bar starts rolling, and
Mhm.
a little snowball goes down the hill, and it becomes bigger, 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 bigger. And yeah, we got number one last year, number two this year. Yeah, so we're very blessed that we are even. I never thought I personally would be in that ranking. So yeah, it's really a blessing.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I'm just been learning more about the industry when I met you at Maudo and just seeing, visiting bartenders and people in the industry exchanging ideas, I guess, getting inspired, teaching each other, and also just socializing and building new or reinforcing friendships. Can you talk more about what the industry is like and the culture of it and how that's helped you?
I think the hospitality industry is great. People are very helpful, supportive of each other. I think if you need something, you can, ask away. I think it's one of the best industries that I've ever worked in. It's competitive, like sometimes you see people do certain things. I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Like, oh, I always try to see the positive side of everything. Of course, there are negative things about our industry. I think every industry has that. But regarding connection, travel, mixing cultures, mixing flavors with each other, like through this job, I've met people from all around the world, from the UAE to Turkey, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and there's very few industries where that's possible if you're if you're for example a doctor or a dentist and you're at the top of the tier. Yeah, you go to congresses, but if you're in the 1%. But I started meeting people in hospitality even when I was a host in a hotel. You meet people from all around the world because they're guests. They come into your venue. So I think that's unique about our industry, and it crosses cultures and thought patterns, and I think it makes the world a better place because you get empathy for each other. You understand people more, and I mean, when I went to Japan or the UAE, it was a culture shock. Like I was like, "What is this?" But now, I understand it more, and
Mhm.
I can emphasize and I can learn. It's like I took the blindfolds off, and I there's much more than just my little world. So that's
Mhm.
very interesting about hospitality.
Mhm.
I mean, I met
Yeah.
you through hospitality.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I love that. I think that's amazing. And that's something that I've always enjoyed just like as a patron is just going to restaurants and seeing the design and the service. And like, you're right, there's levels to it, right? There are some bars that make fancy drinks and light them on fire and have cotton candy on top, but they're not balanced. They're way too sweet or too sour or like, and I'm not a professional. I don't have the most refined palate in terms of alcohol, but I've just been very unhappy at certain places that are about the hype. And so I'm sure just like in your world, you can distinguish who's doing things for show and who actually, I guess, wants to be innovative and artistic and creative. And that's very apparent. Like Felice, who was at Maudo and making us drinks, it was awesome to like hear his story. And the more I've gotten to know him just from seeing his social media, like he definitely approaches his craft sort of like an athlete or a competitor. He's like boxing. He practices like these mindset exercises to get ready for this competition, and that's why he won like the world championship or whatnot. So it's just really cool. And like I know you've been to Japan. One thing that I love about Japan is everywhere you go, you're probably not going to have a bad meal because people take such pride in their craft, no matter what it is, whether they're a janitor or the top chef or bartender at one of the best places in the world or go to Bar Centifolia or whatnot. Like people just take so much, joy
That's
in
it.
being the
Foley. I
best,
love it.
right?
I've been there. I've been there. Arigato gozaimasu. I love it. I love it.
And it's great because he's obviously putting on a show and a character in his persona. Maybe he's not like that in his daily life outside of the bar, but when he gets dressed, when he's behind the bar and he's like lighting things on fire and like chopping ice with a sword or whatever, like he's definitely doing it to bring enjoyment and to bring a completely unique experience, which is why
Yeah.
he's so well known.
Yeah. I mean, you like, and the thing is, not everything is for everybody. Like,
Hmm.
I know a lot of people try to do very innovative stuff and they do it for the fact of innovation and it
Hmm.
might taste terrible, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because if these people never would have done that, we would have never taken that step on, okay, so this is not how to exactly do it, but we can learn from this. So I think you should see the positive in anything. And I think that a lot of people are doing things right now in the cocktail world that I personally probably wouldn't do, but I'm happy they are doing it because it is a learning curve that you need to, that there's a threshold that you need to cross. And I think and again, when you say a refined palate, sweet, sour, bitter, not everything is for everybody. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't really enjoy Negronis or old fashions. I like one sip of it and that's great. I'm more like light, boozy, about light, refreshing, fruity
Hmm.
type stuff, citrusy. So yeah, I mean, regarding taste, I mean, of course, there should be a balance, but some people perceive sweetness as way stronger than others, and
Hmm.
some people don't. Some people just don't like, yeah, weird flavors.
Hmm.
Usually, people that come from a country with a rich kitchen usually are a little bit more easier to please with drinks because they just had more, their taste buds have been exposed to more things. It's like, your taste bud is like grammar pretty much. The more you practice or eat or
Hmm.
different stuff, the better your grammar gets, the better your vocabulary gets.
Definitely.
There you go. So the better you speak the language. And that is actually a quote from a bartender in London. He said that, and I was like, oh, that's a great way of putting it. Like the more you get exposed to something, the more used to you get to it. You know,
Hmm.
if you give a
Definitely.
baby wasabi, I think it'll cry. You know, I don't know, but um, there's certain flavor, like when you're a kid, you don't like coffee, you don't like beer, and then
Hmm.
you grow up and oh, this is actually not bad, or oh, this is nice, or so you evolve.
So what are the difference between handshake bar and your other bar concepts?
So Ahorita Cantina, so the handshake speakeasy, high energy, personal style service, very technique driven drinks, and Ahorita Cantina is more easy style drinks, more Mexican music, Latin, fun, high volume, party-ish. Then Shakerato is more European, Italian, Dutch, still very refined, similar to a handshake as in refined, very refined drinks and food. However, no speakeasy and more Italian and European environment style, music different, layout different. So yeah, that's the biggest difference.
And do you have any other concepts planned in the future? Like, do you plan on opening anything up? Anything else?
I mean, we always, look for opportunity.
Hmm.
We definitely have some consultancies that we're working on in other countries.
Mm.
As far as opening a bar, I have some personal like wishes that I want to do, but yeah, nothing concrete yet. Nothing that was like, okay, this is happening. I mean, we first have to make sure that the Amsterdam project comes off the ground properly. It's been open 3.5 months now, so it needs to start running,
Hmm.
and then yeah, we'll go from there.
And oh, also, I'm curious, like, what do you look for in the people that you hire? Because you have standards, right? You want things done a certain way to uphold the culture. Like, how do you hire people?
Attitude. Like I can teach you how to bartend.
Hmm.
I can't teach you how to be nice. If you don't have that, if you don't have a and driven, they got to be driven. If you have no drive, if you don't want to get better, if you don't, then what are we doing? Like
Hmm.
like don't waste my time. I don't want to waste yours.
Yeah.
For example, nowadays, especially in the hospitality industry, it comes up that working the right amount of hours, not taking advantage of your staff,
Mm,
things of this nature. I agree with that. I agree. You can't take advantage of your staff. What I do always tell my staff though, you're gonna improve at the rate that you're gonna. That's up to you.
yeah.
Like you can come here for your shift every day, clock in, clock out, go through the motion, and you'll improve, sure. But if you want to improve rapidly, you need to put in the hours.
Hmm.
Any athlete, any sport, you want to lose pounds in the gym, you're gonna have to go to the gym. You're gonna have to
Exactly.
put in the time. Does that mean am I gonna pay you for it? No, I'm not. Because you're not working, you're not serving guests.
Hmm.
But if you want to work on technique, if you
Hmm.
want to work on flavor building, if you want to work on your knowledge, that's on you. You don't have to come to the bar to do it. You can if you want because we have all the tools here, but
Hmm.
you need to put in the extra time. And I think a lot of people understand it as like taking advantage of staff. I was like,
Hmm.
listen, if you want to work on your craft, you can do it outside of service. So I'm not making a penny on it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, doesn't make sense for me. But I'm not gonna buy your education for you.
Yeah.
Like you need to put in the time.
Hmm.
I can buy you a gym membership if you don't go. Nothing's gonna happen.
Totally. I mean, that's like in any industry. Like, you don't become Kobe Bryant by doing the bare minimum, right? And I'm sure for the people who want to work their way up to be your right hand or assistant manager or eventually do what you're doing, like, you have to work harder than everyone else, right?
Yeah, but I think a lot of people misunderstand that part of hospitality. Like, I'm already working 40, 50 hours a week. I don't want to put in more time. Okay. I'll see you. I won't see you at the top then. And that's
Yeah.
hard. That's a hard reality to swallow. But like for me, and like when I played basketball, I knew
Hmm.
that being 5'11", I'm not jumping out of the gym. I'm not, you know, lightning fast. So if I want to compete at a certain level, I'm gonna probably have to put in more time than others,
Yeah.
which I did. And at the end of the day, nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. And they're not gonna remember the journey when they look at me or like when people say, "Oh, he won everything," nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, he worked so hard for that." No, it's like, "Oh, look at him, not great, nice," but all the work behind it, nobody sees that. And I
Well,
think
yes, but also I'm sure your peers, or at least the people who are on your level or above, they know what you've been through, right? Because it
because they
takes
went through it as well,
exactly. Everyone
but
else, maybe not so much.
people that aspire to get all this, they're like, "Oh, I want that. I was like, "Well, I'm not guaranteeing you obtain all these things, but if you don't put in the work, if you don't put in the energy, you'll never know." And
Exactly.
one of the biggest regrets that I don't want to have is like, what if I did try? Now, working yourself to death, that's totally different. There needs to be, there needs to be some kind of balance there.
Hmm.
But coming an hour early to work on how you shake, or going on your off day and going to the library to look at flavor components or flavor power, going to the market and trying stuff, that has nothing to do with like putting in hours of
Hmm.
work. You can
Yeah,
make it enjoyable and
definitely.
not stressful for your body.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and rest and recovery is important to being an athlete or a top performer. You can't continue to perform at that level without, feeding your body what it needs. But, I talk to top performers across all industries, people who are millionaires who have had $100 million exits, and it's the same for everyone. You have to reach that at least 10,000 hours to become an expert in your craft, whatever it is. I mean, people ask me all the time, like, how to get started, but with like things like content. But even then, a lot of people will start, they'll record one thing, they'll delete it, maybe they'll record for a week, and then they'll just give up, right? But you have to keep going even when people aren't watching, they're not liking your stuff until that breaking point happens, wherever it happens for each individual. But like, if you just give up, then you'll never get that chance to see what your full potential could have been.
Agreed. Yeah, you have to put yourself out there because you have to be your own biggest supporter. Now, that doesn't mean you have to toot your own horn and scream it from the top of the roofs. There's
Hmm.
humility that is involved because nobody
Yeah,
wants to, talk to somebody that's, look at me, I'm so great. But you need to put yourself out there and expose yourself to other people because if people don't know you exist, they can't support you.
exactly. Yeah, and there's a difference between confidence and cockiness, and to be loved by your peers and have them all vote for you, I'm sure they all probably like you, or most of them like you. Maybe some people are jealous, but they respect you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, it's not just me. It's the team. It's the Rodriguez Marcos. It's Joseph. It's definitely not a one man.
Yeah,
show. Definitely could not have done that by myself. So, like, by no means am I taking any of this. Like, it's not just me.
definitely. Yeah, and I know you mentioned, consulting and travel. What travels do you have upcoming in the next few months or this year?
Well, if I get my visa on Monday, then I go to Australia. I'll go to Australia and then Melbourne, Sydney, and Vancouver. And then Mexico again. Then Athens. Then Amsterdam. Colombia is coming up. What else? Yeah, a
Are
bunch
these
of
for
stuff.
consulting or competitions or
No, this is all like events. Yeah, and then Vancouver is for 50 Best North America, the awards. So, but mostly it's for events that we or get paid for, or we're promoting the bar, or whatnot. Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's good.
Super exciting. Well, I'm really excited to see where you are in the next 6 to 12 months. Maybe we can record another episode. I'm sure you'll have opened another bar by then or won another 10 awards.
Well, we'll see.
But yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And for everyone else, please tune into the next episode of the Breakthrough Blueprint.